Good evening, everybody. We're so honored to have you here with us this evening. This is an unbelievable time of year for every college in the United States, but particularly, we're so honored that you're here with us so you can celebrate and be in the right place for an unbelievable commencement tomorrow. Distinguished guests, honorees, and friends, colleagues, and community members, welcome to the honorary degree dinner for the 46th commencement at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. Hey, so you're gonna have to excuse us because when you come to a commencement around here, we get excited. We've been excited for the last month or so because all of a sudden there are events everywhere on the campus that have to, and everyone tells you, Chancellor, it's a commencement-related event. So they can get you there. And we're all out every night, day, night, and today we've been on tour. It's been a magnificent tour, seeing all kinds of unbelievable students and hearing those stories. And then tonight, we get to have you for dinner. Oh my goodness, what an opportunity for us. And so I am so glad. I am honored personally that you could join us in this celebration of achievement of our students, our faculty, and our honorary degree winners. So some of you that have not met me before are saying, well, who is that guy? Is he like the warm-up act for the chancellor or something? No, I am the chancellor. I am so proud to be the chancellor here. I'm not warming up anything but the food I'm going to take home later, okay? So don't worry about that. I'm just honored to serve you, to serve this community at this time, at this great university, understanding the opportunity that we have together to make a difference. And so thank you for that. I know that some of you just came on campus for the first time. You took that loop around and around and around and around, and you're trying to figure out, and you were getting mad until you saw the view. And the view just jacked you up, and all of a sudden, you understood what we see every day out here. That when we want to look at downtown, we turn to the right. But when we want to look at the ocean, we just start spinning around in a circle. And then we just start walking towards it, and we just hang out, and we have an unbelievably great time just feeling the water, feeling the soul. Someone said, well, I just came back to America. Well, touch the water, because that water has been somewhere else in the world, and it's made its way here. And we're just so amazing to be sitting on such an unbelievable peninsula that has some of the most incredible neighbors in the world inhabiting it with us. But more importantly, we're honored that you are here. We're delighted, in fact, that you are here. This is our chance to get to know each other in a more informal setting before we hit the stage tomorrow for commencement. Now, someone said this was a more informal setting. Tomorrow is informal by some standards of commencement because our commencement is one of the most dynamic opportunities for celebration that you're going to find at a university. Not only will you see what people are trying to plan for in the future in action today, you'll see unbelievable opportunities that this mission-driven university has been able to provide for so many people. So on that note, I realize that everyone in this room is going to have an early morning. So, because tomorrow morning, breakfast starts at 8 o'clock. Then, and that's late for some of you, because I know some of you have been up around 4, right? That's late. But then we have to take pictures. That's the challenge, okay? We'll get those done. We have an unbelievable volunteer team. Put your hands together already for everyone who's volunteering, that's out there in the hallway. Tonight, you're going to be served by some unbelievable people We're so grateful for Sodexo and their team and all that are here. Chef Ernie and all who put this meal together for us. Give them a round of applause. We're going to respect your time tonight by not making it a late night. We're going to move through the program because some of you have come from abroad and might need some time to recover from your jet lag. But we're going to wake you up a little bit. We turn the lights out when I speak around here. We don't even have a speaking program, even though it seems like that when your chancellor is standing here. We want to keep it short and sweet, so don't model me. Don't come up here and model what you see the chancellor doing. We're going to keep everything we do short and sweet, and we're going to eat and listen at the same time. Can we do that? Can we eat and listen at the same time? I know some of you are from such formal settings that would just be, oh man, let's pass the Grey Poupon. We don't do that here. Okay? All right, it's okay. You can eat while we talk. Okay? So, forget everything you know about putting your fork down when somebody comes up here. All right? I'd like to begin by welcoming our special guests. And as special as all of you are, because I know some of you, oh, look at him. He never calls out my name at these events. That's because I call out your name every day. I am so grateful for each and every one of you, particularly those who work with me every day on this campus and lead in ways you do in your space on this campus and beyond. Thank you. So you're out of the way, all right? Okay? But I need to start where I know I need to start, with my beautiful wife, Angela, who's here tonight. Thank her for coming. And I want to give my daughter a standing ovation because she survived last night. It was prom night. And she survived because, she brought a gentleman home. He was a gentleman when he left. He was a gentleman at the event. And he was a gentleman when he brought her home and reported back to her father that she was here, safe, and all that when he got there. And so I'm grateful for my daughter, Kayla, for being here tonight, too. The other one is Jordan is in the back room studying somewhere. We also know that City Councilor Tito Jackson is supposed to be joining us this evening. I'm grateful to see members of the University of Massachusetts Board of Trustees here. We know that Richard Campbell's here already. And so, but we also know that we have two wonderful other trustees that are here tonight. Megan Kingston, where you at, Megan? University of Massachusetts, Amherst, stand up. And we also have our own Nolan O'Brien. Where's Nolan at with his auntie? Back there in the back. See, Nolan strategically places himself in the room, you see, so he can see everybody in the room. Look at him. He's got the best seat in the house. Get a chance to see everyone. Nolan, it's great to see you. But we also have tonight some of our colleagues who are here from our Board of Visitors. They had a meeting that lasted all afternoon, and it was a very successful meeting. Our chair, Selma Sachs. Selma came in from California. Where you at, Selma? Chair Emeritus Arthur Mabbitt is here. Vice Chair Charlie Desmond. He's also a big shot chairman of the Board of Higher Education, but the rest of the Board of Visitors are here. Stand up so we can see you. Hey, we made them work for their meal today. Thank you so much for that. We also want to welcome back to our campus alumni, leaders, student government leaders. Provost Langley is here, over here. Vice chancellors that are here, our deans, our executive leadership team. Thank you all for joining us. I'm also so grateful to see my colleagues from downtown here, some of whom I've had the honor of working with for lots of the time I've been here in the University of Massachusetts system. I see that we have Senior Vice President Marcelette Williams here. I see that we have an alum of the university, great University of Massachusetts, Boston. Bob Conley, stand up so we can see you. Young man that never forgets where he came from, and one of the nicest human beings that God has created in this world. David McDermott, stand up so we can say hello to you. And if there's anyone else from downtown, thank you for coming. Because remember, it's not downtown. It's the University of Massachusetts. So it's all, we sort of reach out throughout the entire Commonwealth. 351 municipalities were there, making a difference. And so there's a young man that's leading us in that whole effort to make sure that this Commonwealth, this country, and this world knows that there's this great research university in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that has all of the corners of it set up for greatness, ready to do unbelievable research that contributes not only to the communities, but to the globe. Someone who's been in higher education, leading on the West Coast, leading on the East Coast, and now leading at the right space at the right time here at the University of Massachusetts for our system, the president of the University of Massachusetts, Robert Corrett, who will kick off the program this evening. You can start eating while the president comes up and speaks. Robert Corrett, come on up.
It's always good to be introduced by Keith, especially when he says we're going to be brief. Sort of a warning for all of us, but thank you, Chancellor Motley, and I concur with all of your overview of what's happening here at UMass Boston. It's always great to be on this campus. The energy on this campus is something that I take great pride in as the system president. This is a campus that reflects everything that public higher education is supposed to be about in terms of access, affordability, and high quality and opportunity. And we really, really enjoy always being here because of the energy that we feel just walking into this one building and seeing the students that are running around here. Let me also thank the Chancellor, the Chancellor, I've already thanked him, thank the board members who are with us this evening. Dick Campbell's been a staunch member of the board for a number of years at this point. He's been introduced a couple of times. I always like to say at this kind of moment that Dick is my favorite trustee because he's the only non-student trustee in the room, and I think that's a good thing to say when, just like I like to say this is my favorite campus, and that sometimes changes day to day, but but the two student trustees who are here, both Megan and Nolan, who have been introduced, have been wonderful examples of the kinds of students that come forward. We have 5 student trustees each year, and it's an amazing job that they do on reflecting not only what the student voice is on our campuses and the needs that are reflected in those students, but also taking on the entire fiduciary role of running what is a $3 billion business with over 100,000 students a day being impacted either in the classrooms or online. So it's an awesome responsibility, and they do a great job at it, and I want to thank them for doing that. This is what I like to call the season of celebrations. I, as president, wind up going to all 5 campuses and participating in the commencements. Luckily, they're not all in the same week. We actually had the first commencement the first weekend in May, and we'll have the last commencement this coming Sunday. But it's an exciting time because I've been in higher ed since the early 70s. And one of the things I've always enjoyed about it is this period of time at the end of each year where you see why it is so important that we have public higher ed in this country. And we see the thousands and thousands of students that have found their way to our doors and are now going through those doors out into the world to create the society of the future. And it's an exciting part of what keeps us all motivated as administrators of higher education institutions and faculty and staff at higher education institutions. Whereas a particular milestone here at UMass Boston, 50 years old this year, young for an institution, but 5 decades of having a significant impact here in the city of Boston. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed, I was president at San Jose State University for 9 years in California, which is an urban campus in the middle of downtown San Jose. And the thing I've enjoyed about UMass Boston and San Jose as urban campuses, which make them slightly different than the other campuses, is you're dealing what I like to call with all the new citizens of the world. Everybody that's coming into these cities and then looking for an opportunity to the future. And you can see it here in this particular building, this student center every day. You can see it every day as the students walk across this campus, but you're also gonna see it tomorrow, which is most important, where you see those students walk out our doors as successful students. As the chancellor likes to say in his new TV ad, they come as they are, but we send them out ready to serve. And that's a huge part of what education is supposed to do. You know, the enrollment here at University of Massachusetts Boston is reflective of the enrollment around the system. We're growing at an unprecedented rate. We have students trying to get in, 2 to 5 times as many students applying as we can accept. As a result, it's getting more and more difficult to get in. The SAT GPA profile is going up. That's good for us, not so good for the students because they have less opportunity to come. But we're trying to keep the door open for as many of them as we can. And as I said earlier, if you're dealing with 100,000 students a year, you're doing a pretty good job of keeping the door open. But this kind of campus, an urban campus, provides a unique opportunity to bring people in to higher education that might not get there otherwise. And Keith and his entire team have done a great job of opening up pathways, for example, in the STEM disciplines, to bring in underrepresented, both by gender and by race, underrepresented populations into the STEM arena. And with the new building you all saw coming in today, the Integrated Science Complex, that's going to improve even more. And it's a key role for this campus as we move forward. Now, our primary role, and I'm almost done because I'm supposed to be brief. This is how I make a living, however, so you got to sort of deal with this. But our primary role is education and human development. We are here to provide students with a skill to get a job and go off and develop careers and help create a better society. But we're also here to develop students themselves so that they can grow as individuals. And the human development piece is a critical piece. But another side part of what we do in every city that you find a university is economic vitality. And every 5 years or so, we do a study to see just how important we are from an economic perspective to the region, because we're huge employers, we're huge land developers, we're huge businesses, we're huge purchasers, we're huge employers. And if you put that together just from a business perspective, this campus, with the most recent study, which we just completed last week, is generating close to $1 billion in economic vitality for this region. $1 billion in economic vitality for this region. They like to title us as, they call us anchor institutions. If you want to have a vital, important region where people feel like they're having a great life, you want more eds, beds, and what is it called? Meds, beds, and eds. More medical teaching hospitals, more convention centers with hotels and lots of hotel rooms, and lots of educational institutions, and we're the ed part of the med, bed, and ed. And one of the reasons Boston is such a vital city is because we have all three of those in large part, perhaps a larger part than any other part of the country. So let me end by saying that I very much appreciate what everybody here at UMass Boston is doing for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the citizens. But I also want to take a moment to reflect on, again, and we do this too often, I'm sure he gets embarrassed, on Trustee Campbell and what he has led in terms of a reflection on Crystal Campbell, whose portrait is up here to the right, who was killed during the Marathon bombing, and Dick, because of having the same name as Crystal, because he grew up in the same town that she grew up in, because he attended the same university, UMass Boston, that she attended, and because he was part of leading and is actually leading the capital campaign at UMass Boston, committed significant personal funds to a scholarship in her name, but perhaps more importantly, worked with the student trustees and the campuses to generate dozens of runners, including his own family, who I think some of whom are here today. I don't know if they all ran, but they are here today, to run in this year's marathon and get pledges for that to go into the scholarship fund. And I think, again, it says something great about what this institution does. Thank you, Dick. And now I will end by congratulating this year's awardees, Christiana Figueres, Mel King, and Feng Wu. We look forward to being part of the ceremony with you tomorrow when you get the honorary degrees that will be awarded and the chancellor's medals that will be awarded. And again, let me end by thanking Chancellor Motley, his entire team. You know, when you run a system, I've been in 2 large systems in California and Maryland, and now I'm here running a system in Massachusetts. And everything in life comes down to people working together. And I work well with the chancellor. The chancellor works well with me and the other 4 chancellors, and that makes all the difference in terms of how things get done here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for all of you and all the citizens of Massachusetts. Thanks for being part of this particular night of celebration.
And that was, I tell you, the president knows how to follow direction. That was brief. That, you know, that was brief for a college president, university president, right? Hey, listen, we also have neighbors here on the peninsula, like the Edward M. Kennedy Institute that's going up every day. Andy Tarsi's here, sitting over here. Andy, stand up so they can see you. But you know, this institution is about our students. And so our student trustee, Nolan O'Brien, come on up for a moment so we can hear from you. We usually don't warn the students that they have to speak. I just sort of snatch them and bring them up. But Nolan, we like Nolan. We like him a whole lot. So we told him we're going to have you speak. He brought Auntie with him tonight as well. And so let's give Auntie a round of applause. Go right ahead, man.
Thank you, Chancellor Motley. Thank you. President Corrett, Dick Campbell, Megan Kingston, my fellow board members. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I seem to have broken the cardinal rule that we have here at UMass Boston, which is never follow the chancellor in speaking at anything. But I'm glad to do it tonight to say a few words at this dinner. Take you back real quick. A year ago, I was here as the student trustee-elect, and this was my first event that I had been invited to. I was blown away by the people and the food and the awards recipients and everything. But a quick little funny story about eating while the award recipient recognition is going on. Chancellor Motley addressed everybody. He said, this is a dinner. Everybody should be eating. So I hadn't eaten all day, so I just plowed right in. And a couple minutes in, I was one of the only ones eating, and everybody else was quiet. And Chancellor Motley calls me out. Look, our new student trustee knows a thing or two about leading. He's eating, and everybody else needs to start eating. So it was a great little moment. It was fun.
See,
but
you remembered that. See, yeah. You remembered it.
Now I'm going to take you 200 years ago. Speaking about the creation of the University of Virginia, Thomas Jefferson proclaimed, "I know no safe depository of the ultimate powers of the society, but the people themselves. And if we think them not enlightened enough to exercise their control with a wholesome discretion, the remedy is not to take it from them, but inform their discretion by education." Here at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, we are celebrating our 50th year as an institution of public higher education. We embody the ideals of Mr. Jefferson every day, as can be seen from the values and contributions of our distinguished honorary degree recipients tonight. From the student perspective, I would like to thank and congratulate all of tonight's award recipients for being worthy beacons and stewards of the virtues of opportunity, access, and educational excellence that we promote on a daily basis as Boston's public research university. So thank you very much and congratulations.
No. So, now you heard him, right? Boston's public research university, beacons and stewards. He's got all the jargon down now. I tell you, man, you're getting there. I tell you, congratulations and thank you, man. We're so honored to have you serving again. All right? Thanks so much for all you do for the university. So go on and eat. I won't call you out. Commencement Day is one of the most exciting days of the year for our university. Now, it's going to be beautiful tomorrow, in spite of the fact that every day this week, somebody's been coming up to me talking about rain for Friday. It never rains on the University of Massachusetts, Boston, when we have a commencement. Well, at least I never feel the rain. The day is going to fly by tomorrow like you will not believe. So I'm grateful to have this chance tonight to reflect together on the stars of tomorrow's show, who deserve these moments of quiet appreciation before they hit the stage up in front of all of our graduates and their guests. One of our stars is sitting right here in the front. He's this year's winner of the John F. Kennedy Award for Academic Excellence. In case you haven't noticed, this campus is one of the few campuses in America that has its own presidential library. So the presidential library named for John F. Kennedy is right here on our campus, and we're so grateful to have them. And so the John F. Kennedy Award for Excellence, a student whose path to success has taken him from Lynn to Iraq. Now that's amazing. From Lynn to Iraq, to the University of Massachusetts, Boston. And now it's going to take him next year to UC Berkeley for a fully funded doctoral program. Please join me in recognizing the outstanding Sean O'Grady. Stand up, Sean. Hey, man, come here. Tomorrow, Sean is going to give his speech. Tonight, I want him to introduce who's here with him and say a couple words to you if he wants. Go ahead, Sean.
Thank you, Chancellor Motley, and thank you all for coming out tonight. I would like to say, Chancellor Motley, it's an honor to stand in your shadow. Even though I'm not sure there's a place on the campus that you can't stand in his shadow. So, but you mentioned something earlier in your introductory remarks that I'd like to hit on, and that was that you all are leaders here on this campus. And I think that's very much true. And I would like to say that leadership is a characteristic that is imbued on the character of each and every faculty and student in this campus or on this campus. My mentor, Professor Juja Kaldi, has been an incredible mentor for me. And as a staff sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, I can honestly say I have not seen, thank you, I have not seen a better leader than my mentor, Professor Juja Kaldi. She has been incredible for me. She has shown me the path through the literature. She has shown me through a path through some very difficult times in my life, the loss of my father a few years ago. And she's helped me immensely, not only in my academic success, but also in my success as a human, as a person. She's given me these incredible sources. She's been an incredible source of knowledge, not only for what I plan to do in academics, but also what I plan to do with my family and how I plan to raise my kids. She's given me everything, and I know that every single faculty here is dedicated to their students just as much as Professor Kaldi is to me. And for that, I'd like to thank all of the faculty, staff, and administrators here who make this possible. So that's, I'm going to keep it brief, just like you said. So,
but hold up, man. You want to introduce
Yeah.
Wait, time out. He just asked me, should he introduce his wife? Now, I thought that he had learned something when he stood up here as a Marine and said the most important leader he's ever met happened to be a woman who happens to be an outstanding professor on this campus. And all that stereotype of what a Marine is sort of went out the window. Then you lean over and say to the chancellor, should I introduce my wife? You and I got some things to do before you go out to UC Berkeley. Get back up here, man.
So I've also have the pleasure of being accompanied by my strong and brilliant wife, Flora Reyes Jimenez.
That was perfect. That's a good comeback. I like that. See?
Once again, thank you all for coming out tonight.
That's a great comeback. See, that man got potential. He's got lots of potential. So grateful. Sean O'Grady, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Oh, and he's kissing her too. Hey, so I've been bragging about our unbelievable faculty. And that is something that no matter where I go in the world, when I walk down the streets in Beijing, or if I'm walking in Singapore, it's amazing. Someone will come up and talk about our unbelievable faculty. And so this commencement allows for us to honor and acknowledge our faculty stars, the winners of our annual Chancellor's Award for Distinguished Service, Teaching, and Scholarship. Please stand as I read your names. The recipient of the Chancellor's Award for Distinguished Teaching is Professor Robert Chin from the School for Environment. The Chancellor's, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I'm getting you ready for tomorrow, see? It took a minute, but look, you're getting pumped up. I like this. The Chancellor's Award for Distinguished Scholarship goes this year to Professor Elizabeth Fay of the English Department. Yeah, yeah. The winner of the Chancellor's Award for Distinguished Service is Professor Catherine Lin from the Department of Economics. Give them a round of applause. Thank you all. Tomorrow we're going to talk about you and show you off. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Now it's my pleasure to recognize Christiana Figueres, who will give the principal address to the class of 2014 tomorrow, after she receives an honorary doctorate of laws. Now we asked Christiana to deliver our commencement speech because, number one, she's unbelievable. But secondly, because as the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, she sort of fits in to this university in a way that just makes a tremendous statement to our students, to our faculty, to our staff, and to our community. She has a valuable perspective on uniting disparate groups to mitigate the effects of climate change, and decades of experience protecting our planet and those populations who can least afford its destruction. Her words will be an inspiration for the class of 2014. Christiana, the University of Massachusetts, Boston, is especially proud to have you as our commencement speaker, and we are delighted to welcome you and all your family today. You got your daughter here, just got back on American soil, right? 2.5 years away? Oh my goodness. Please stand, both of you, so we can see you. Tomorrow, we're going to hand you the mic. Is there anything that you might want to say this evening? Come on up. I know better than that.
You know, if you get an invitation like that, how can you say no?
There you go.
So, okay, this is my second time on campus, right? And here's what I've learned very, very quickly. As a good student, I was taking note, okay? So here are the themes of the evening: excellence, stewardship, leadership, diversity, mentorship, inspiration, achievement. I mean, what is there not to like about this place, right?
There you go. There you go.
So the other thing that I learned is I thought the party, the commencement celebration, was over the weekend. What I didn't know, Chancellor, you did not tell me, is that it took the whole month. Had you told me, I would have canceled my trip to the North Pole and come and spent the whole month with you here.
Oh, we'd have loved that.
And finally, there is only one thing that I really must register as being deeply concerning to me about this fantastic place, and that is the shrinking violet personality of your chancellor. You really have to do something about that.
So tonight, we're supposed to be slowing down tonight a bit before the hectic pace of tomorrow. But we're also flipping the commencement script by giving the other honorary degree and chancellor's medal recipients a chance to speak tonight. Tonight, we get to hear about their lives and their work in their own words. I'm looking forward to sitting down, hearing what wisdom they have to share. We're going to begin with someone who has given so much of his time and his heart to this university, his alma mater. Richard Campbell, class of 1970, as a member, yes, you can clap for him, go ahead. As a member of one of the first graduating classes of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, you saw firsthand how access to education transformed the lives of students like you. You've become one of the best known and most successful trial lawyers in our Commonwealth, and you've given generously to help others achieve the same success. Dick, you know you love this place. It's infectious. We love you. Come on up. We're thrilled to welcome you tonight. Come on up and say a few words. Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. Well, one of the things that some of you who know me and know our activities with respect to the marathon might remember is that we went to great efforts to let the people in the Commonwealth know about the marathon and about Crystal Campbell. So one of the ways we did that was to get a billboard right on the Southeast Expressway, and it was prominently positioned. And those of you who know me as a trial attorney would know that we also try to get the word out about who we are and what we do as often as we can. So there's a half marathon coming up that some of the lawyers in our firm are running in, and my daughter Lauren, who's sitting over there from Lynn, like our Marine jarhead here, she went and she had T-shirts, wickable T-shirts put together, and I thought, well, one way to get the word out about us is to put one of those T-shirts on our chancellor, who's kind of big enough to be a billboard. So what do you think? Huh? What do you think, huh?
Oh, I like that. So listen, does that mean that like I'm officially like a Campbell now?
Yeah, you are. You are.
Mom, I'm coming home for dinner. Uh-oh. You're in trouble now.
Now, it's only a double XL. That may not be big enough. You never know.
Well, listen, I think it might. Kind of swell there.
Well, thanks a lot, Chancellor. I very much appreciate it. Barbara and I are certainly humbled by this honor, and more importantly, by sharing the stage, sharing the limelight with people of such incredible distinction. My mother, God rest her soul, Bonnie Campbell, is an alumna of this university. She was one of the legacy schools, and she was a public school teacher in the city of Malden for many, many years. Probably the only public school teacher that had 6 male children at the same time that she was teaching. As we like to say, there was never a shortage of testosterone in our house. So I think she'd be pretty proud right now. With your permission, I'd like to talk to you about 3 matters tonight. 1, the people who really deserve this honor and award. 2, the people who motivate us every single day to do what we can do for the university. And 3, the past, the present, and the future of this university. So 3 things: the people who deserve the award, the people who motivate us every day, and the past, present, and future of the university. First, Sean, my Marine friend, and what is it with the Marines? This is the 2nd year in a row that they got this award.
Listen,
3rd year in a row, whoa. We have to talk about building a Marine Corps building out here, right next to the Kennedy Institute. In any event, I'm not going to make the mistake that you make, Sean. The people who deserve the credit, my wife and life partner, Barbara, with all seriousness, my wife really deserves all the credit here. She used to pick at me all the time and try to get me to change the direction of our philanthropy. Like everybody in this room, we try to do something beyond ourselves, beyond our family. And she used to say to me, you got to do something for UMass. You got to do something for UMass. Every dollar, she would say, every dollar that you give to UMass has great meaning, way more meaning than a dollar that you would give to Boston College or whatever. So we moved from the one direction of philanthropy to UMass, in part because of this story. This is a true story. My wife was at home one day, and she gets a call from a kid from the university here, from UMass Boston. And the kid from UMass Boston announces that she's trying to help raise funds for the university and explains the whole process to Barbara. And then she says to Barbara, would you consider giving the University of Massachusetts $25? And my wife says, how about 1,000? It took about 3 days before Joe O'Brien was down my office, and the rest is history. Now, there's Joe, and he knows that that's true. Now, with respect to our efforts in the marathon, in the 2014 marathon, that was not my idea. My wife and I decided to create the Crystal Campbell Scholarship for the reasons that the Chancellor explained. But the whole notion of running in the marathon on behalf of this university and on behalf of the Crystal Campbell Scholarship came from my extended family. When they heard about the scholarship, they decided that what had to be done was to go off and run in a marathon. So I want to say to them, to Karen and Mark and Allison and Rob and Jay and Susanna, to Rich and Liz, Lauren and Adam, Sean and Melanie, Jim, Leah, and Chris, kudos. They're here. Sean and Melanie got pushed way over there, but they're here. And Chancellor, seven members of the family ran in the marathon, most for the first time ever. Bob Conley was at the Elliott Hotel when some of them came in, and one of the people that he saw came in was my daughter Lauren, and she was wearing one of those marathon blankets and shrouded in it. And he later said to me, that was an incredible, I won't quote you because the language is a little too colorful for this audience, but he said that was one of the real moments, telling moments of the commitment that my family members had to this marathon. And it goes beyond that. We ended up running 14 individuals, and 7 of the individuals were recruited by the student trustees of the University of Massachusetts. So Megan and Nolan and the other student trustees went way out of their way to convince others to run in the marathon. We ended up running 14 individuals. Obviously, it couldn't have been done without the staff, Gina and John Feely, Ed Lambert and Allie Duffy. They were phenomenal. The Chancellor, what can I say about the Chancellor? We have the best Chancellor anywhere, ever. He is an amazing human being. And I want to thank Crystal Campbell for her life, for her energy and enthusiasm, get choked up, for her unbelievable work ethic and her smile. She is such an incredible role model for all of our students. Education and then fun, and then more education and hard work, and then more education and friends and family, and then more education. This is a quote from the Daily News, an article that was done in the Daily News about her, about one of the students that work for her at Jasper's Summer Shack. He quoted her as saying, nothing is more important than your college students. So we thank her parents, William and Patricia, for raising her to be the woman that she was, and we thank them for allowing us to honor her. Now, the people who motivate us to do the work that we do every single day. This university is an amazing community of scholars, of staff, of people who work to make this place what it is every day. Today, Dean Jackson brought to the Board of Visitors luncheon today a young fellow who's a graduate student at the McCormick School. His first name is Parfait. I don't remember the last name. This guy's unbelievable. He was raised in a camp in Burundi, and he fled Rwanda to avoid the genocide. When he came here on a asylum visa, he could not speak a word of English, not one word. 9 years ago, he could not speak a single word of English. He is the most articulate, person you could ever meet. And I mean, just brilliant. And he graduated with honors from UConn, and now he's a graduate student here at this university. And he is exactly the type of student that we have at this university. Our students are phenomenal. And one of the things that I love about coming to the commencement exercise at this university, he does it every year at the start with his enormous presence and his booming voice. He will stand out there tomorrow and he will say to all of the students, I want every one of you who is the first person in your family to get a college degree to stand up. And you know what? Half of the students stand up, half of them. We have the most diverse student body anywhere in the Northeast as far as I'm concerned. It is an amazing, amazing place. Now let me talk lastly about the past, the present, and the future of our university. This university was the brainchild of a couple of Dorchester fellas 50 years ago. Speaker at the time, and then later Attorney General Bob Quinn, and Senator George Connealy, Denise's dad. Those two people were at the center of the creation of the University of Massachusetts in Boston. And you know why they did it? Why did they want to put this university together? In their own words, they said they wanted a place where city kids would, quote, trip over opportunities for a quality higher education. All right, now let's look at the present. Look at where we are now. This university is incredible. It is unbelievably beautiful. I invite any one of you to come up with another example of a major university that sits surrounded by, on three sides by the ocean. Think about it. Can you come up with any? Can you come up with any university that where you look in any direction, you're surrounded by such natural beauty? It's incredible. We have 16,000 students at this university, and 4,000 of them are going to join the alumni tomorrow. Here's an important datum that you should keep in mind. 85% of our kids stay in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. They are the workforce of tomorrow. Now, the future. I'm sure some of you have read in the Globe and the Times and other newspapers that the city of Boston is experiencing the fastest rate of growth it has seen in a long, long time. It's growing faster than almost any other city in the United States. The last time the city of Boston grew at that kind of rate was right after World War II, right, when the baby boom produced people like moi. And part of that growth involved the GI Bill. We took a vast number of people and we educated them because of their service to the country. And what happened? Well, a lot of those GIs who went to college went to a school at the time that was devoted to teaching the children of the city of Boston, Boston College. That was the university that taught the kids who were the children of firemen and policemen and laborers and the like. And what happened? All of those Boston College people then stayed in the city, and they became the titans of corporate America. They led the law firms. They led the accounting firms. They took positions in the teaching hospitals. Well, now we're growing at a great rate again. And all those other universities in the city of Boston, they're not teaching, they're not really dedicated to the children of firemen, policemen, and laborers and the like, but UMass Boston is. And I'm telling you, in a generation, our students will be the heads of major corporations and banks, the heads of law firms, the heads of accounting firms, and the heads of the teaching hospitals in this Commonwealth.
He exits on that. He makes a comment like that and then he exits. I like that. I like that, Dick.
You know, Chancellor, I have to say this too. My daughter, the last time we were together at the law firm, Caleb was there, Angie was there. My daughter came up to me afterwards and said, Dad, I used to think you were tall until you're standing next to me.
Listen, thank you, Dick. Give Dick another round of applause. Chancellor's Medal recipient. So one of the wonderful things about being chancellor or leading any kind of organization is oftentimes you get a chance to sort of do things that you've always wanted to do in your lifetime. And one of those is to honor and to or have people around you that have had tremendous impact on you personally in your life. And it's just another way to say thank you. What I love about this campus is they have a sense of that. And so without my having to sort of ask or beg, they understood that it was important to take someone like our next honorary degree recipient, the Honorable Melvin King, or Mel as we all know him, and honor him as part of this commencement. Former state representative and lifelong activist, teacher, mentor to so many of us, advocate in and for our city, and also an alumnus of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, back in the Boston State Teachers College days in 1952. Something else. Now, some of us talk about our 50-year legacy, but as was noted, when Dick talked about his mom and others, our legacy goes back to Boston Normal School, which goes way back to 1852 or something like that. And so we're so grateful that today we can have with us such a wonderful human being. Mel, come on up and bless us with a few words. You knew you were home, but now you know you're home.
Wow. I first want to thank Chancellor Motley and faculty, students, staff for this honor. It is very, very, very humbling, and I, wow. Thanks. Want to introduce my family, starting with Joyce King, and then there's Pamela, Skip, and we have adopted family, Lois, and well, we have another friend who, boy, I'm blanking, Joanne. All right. And then there's another member from way back who's a professor here at UMass Boston, Dr. Robert Johnson. I was pleased to hear you mention Boston Normal and Boston Teachers College and how they have morphed into UMass Boston. But it does, for me, say that there is a very, very important message in it that we must remember and ask, are we creating the same opportunities for the youth all over Boston and surrounding that I had when I went to Boston Teachers College for my master's in education. Now, what was significant about that is in 1951, when I entered, how much the tuition cost. It was $100. $100. And we got access to car checks that allowed us to ride the T for, was it 15 cents, something in that vein. They provided us with the books. They were serious about wanting people to have that opportunity. And our task, and it's great to hear us talk about the billions of dollars that come to the city and the region as a result of the university, the medical schools, medical centers. But we must ask the question, how many of the youth and families who live in public housing are able to get access and get into UMass Boston? That's the task. Amazing what has happened here. But at the same time, the incarceration rate of folks in parts of the city are going up. We have to turn that around where there's a belief in what I call the pursuit of possibility. And I just want to read one of my poems from a poetry book called Love is the Question and the Answer, which I thought represented for me what I'm trying to get over and how it impacted my life. Pursuit of possibilities. Imagining a life based on the power of love, where all the children are ours and we hold their trust, so we bring out the best in us. Free me? Who can free me? Me. I know I'm free. I know I'm free because I can dream a world where all can be free to complete in complete systems, in a complete system, sharing in the commonwealth. Somewhere out there are others who want to live in a sharing community. Free is inside of me, part of my heredity. I can take my life where I want it to be. I can keep pushing like my ancestors did for me. I am a link in the chain of change, working for all to be free. When the moon is full, it has its impact on me, like it does the water in the seas. As the tides reach their height, I keep my goals in sight. To live in a world where I can share my life. Free is inside of me, so I can imagine where to take my life. The beauty of the universe is instilled in me. I can be the change I want to see. be the person the gift of creation installed in me so I can live in harmony with my world community. Free is inside of me so I can share the greatness of the power of love to me, the power of love in me, watching the rising sun, providing warmth and fulfillment for everyone. Thank you.
Love, man. It's all around the room. You know? Oh, thank you, man. We're getting a lot of gifts tonight. The man said, take the book, son, learn something. I love it. I love it. When I need a tune-up, I know where to go to get my tune-up. I head right over and I sit on the stoop. And so I'm so grateful. Finally, I'd like to invite someone to the stage, to the rostrum, who is our honorary degree recipient, who's come a long way to be with us tonight. Our honorary degree recipient, Feng Wu, is here. He's a pioneer in green, renewable energy, an expert in his field of rechargeable batteries that end up powering our hybrid automobiles. Someone who has made a tremendous difference in this world, and someone who's been connected to us as a university for a while now. And we're grateful to be able to honor you this evening. Come on up, Mr. Wu. Welcome.
尊敬的卡里特校长莫特里校长和夫人副校长、教务长，各位来宾、女士们、先生们，晚上好。这样来吧。
Dear Mr. President, Mr. Chancellor, Mrs. Chancellor, and ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in the evening.
我今天非常高兴参加这个欢快的颁奖晚宴这是我第3次走到进入这个 UMass 波士顿的这个美丽的校园与前2次不同的是，今后我将成为你们当中的一员，因此感到分外的兴奋和这个非常的荣幸。首先，我在此表示衷心的感谢。
This is my 3rd time visiting the beautiful campus of UMass Boston. The only difference this time is I will become one of you. It is a privilege. It is a privilege and honor for me to speak in front of you today as a recipient of the honorary degree from UMass Boston.
这个很抱歉，我这2天得了喉炎我本来以为是这个中国的雾霾造成的，后来到了纽约，看到我的朋友杨晓清教授，他也得了我这样的病这个所以可能还不完全是这个原因，但到你们这儿看你们的精神都很好，可能由于你们在这个这个莫特里校长领导下，经常欢快的经常欢笑的结果，所以都很健康。
He said he catch cold, and he's got a cough and lost his voice, and he thought it's because of the air pollution in China. But when he came up in New York, he found his colleague, Professor Xiaoqing Wang from Brookhaven National Institute, also coughed. But when he showed up in Boston, he found everybody in the audience is very healthy and very excited. So he believed that it's because this is the end of the leadership of Chancellor Motley. So we are very...
这个 我50年代初出生在中国的北京，在中学时期呢，由于文化大革命的发生呢，中断了我的学业。我和你们学校的历史系的教授叶伟立同在一个时间从北京到中国北方一个偏远贫困的农村插队，我们2个村相距几英里很近。在那个刚开始在那个地方我们干一天活只挣几个美分。我在那生活了将近7年，在那里呢，我也认识和了解了中国的农民和他们的缺少教育的子女所以这个除了劳动之外呢，我也自学了文化知识，用自己的知识呢，也帮助了那里的农民摆脱贫困，帮助他们的孩子学习文化知识。
I was brought up in Beijing in the early 50s after the long and horrendous World War II and the Civil War. My education was interrupted when I was at the started junior high school by the so-called the Cultural Revolution in China, and I was sent to a farm in a remote area in North China. Now, actually, it was the same location that Professor Wei Li Ye from English department, and she was at the same village as he does. So we're gonna have a dinner tomorrow. This is a surprise. We did not know they actually know each other, and. So the location of the farm is in the remote area in North China, and at the time, after 1 day of hard farm labor, they only make a few cents every day, and my over 7 years experience living in the poor farm enriched my life tremendously, and give me a perspective of how the hard life of the majority Chinese at that time with very limited resource and the gap between the urban and the rural. And that experience not only make me more appreciate with the opportunity that I have, but also set a lifelong goal to alleviate the social and the economic inequalities of the people. And it is it is universally true that such inequalities reflect the consequence of the unequal access to the education, employment, asset, and the social welfare benefit, especially education. I'm particularly proud of accept this honorable degree from UMass Boston because I know that this institution which set its goal to educate disadvantaged students and help them become successful in the future.
我也是昨天才听曲德阳教授告诉我，叶伟立在你们学校，所以这个世界很大也很小。
He said he just heard Professor Ye is in the university, so it's such a big word and also a small word.
在农村插队的生活呢，也丰富了我的人生阅历了解到城乡之间的巨大差异。这种经历呢，也让我更加珍惜自己所得到的各种机会。同时呢，我也立志将减少社会不平等作为终身的奋斗目标。大家都知道，这种不平等反映了人们接受教育、工作、资产和社会福利的不均衡，而这个麻省大学波士顿分校的建校宗旨呢，也正是让社会地位较低的学生接受教育，并帮助他们在未来有所建树。因此，我更加珍视贵校授予我的这个荣誉博士学位。
The experience of my about my 7 years in the farm labors, and for me to realize that the people with limited resource and inequalities, it actually is one of the major problem, and I actually set my lifetime goal to trying to minimize such a gap between the people with different resource. By doing so, in my university, we are actually trying to helping the people that with very limited resource to finish their educations and moving forward in their career and become successful, which I'm very happy again to see this particular institution have the same goal and for the purpose.
中国和美国是世界上最大的两个经济体，我们应该共同肩负起降低原油消耗和减少温室气体排放的重任。这是一个远大的目标，需要社会和政治领导人的大力倡导。很好的一个例子是在2009年9月，中国胡锦涛主席和美国奥巴马总统共同宣布中美电动车的合作正式开始。两国领导人强调，为了减少原油消耗、原油依赖降低温室气体排放和促进经济发展，两国在加速电动汽车发展上有巨大的共同利益。中国科技部委任我协调管理与美国能源部的同事的合作，以完成两国领导人所定的任务，并促进两国科学家和学者的合作。从2010年起，我作为共同主席之一，我们已经成功的举办了8届中美电动汽车和电池技术的研讨会，分别在中国和美国召开。其中，2012年的秋天，第6届研讨会正是在贵校校长和校方的大力支持下，在UMass 波士顿召开的，所以
The increasing dependence and consumption of the natural resource contribute greatly inequities through hindering the economic growth. China and the US are the 2 largest economy and energy consumer in the world. We shall share our responsibilities to reduce the consumption of the fossil fuel and the emission of the greenhouse gases. It is an ambitious goal and require the advocate from the public and the political leaders. The great example is that on September 2009, President Hu Jintao and President Barack Obama announced the launch of a US-China electric vehicle initiative. The 2 leaders emphasized their country's strong shared interest in accelerating the deployment of the electric vehicles in order to reduce the oil dependence, cut the greenhouse gas emission, and promote economic growth. I am commissioned by the Ministry of the Science and Technology of China to coordinate the President's task with my colleagues from US Department of Energy in order to foster collaboration between the scientists of both countries. Starting from 2010, 8 US-China electric vehicles and battery technology workshop has been held in both countries. In the fall of 2012, the 6th workshop was held in the campus of UMass Boston. And thank you very much, Ms. Chancellor, and thank you very much, Mr. Provost, for your support. And we are now to see the increased amount of zero-emission vehicles on the highway in both countries.
我们很高兴看到的是，高速公路上有越来越多的零排放和低排放的新能源汽车。但是这还远远不够，我们要对我们的未来负责，对全人类的跨国界政治和国度的未来负责，对子孙后代负责。我们需要用思想和行动来增进信任与合作，以实现这一伟大的目标。美国之梦始于波士顿，在我们迈向更加美好、更加清洁的世界的旅途中，波士顿这座美丽的城市和 UMass 波士顿这所伟大的学校，必将再一次发挥引领作用。我很高兴加入你们，成为其中的一员。谢谢大家，让我们一起来圆这个美好的梦。
However, this is still far from the goal we have determined to reach. We are responsible for the future of the world the future of the humankind, which crosses the boundary of the geopolitics and the nationalism. We have to bring about through our thoughts and actions that contribute to build the trust, foster the collaborations to lead the ever more rapid advancement of science and technology. The American dreams was studied in Boston. In our new journey toward a greater, better, and greener world, I am sure this great city of the Boston, this great university, UMass Boston, will play a leading role. I'm so proud to be part of it. Thank you very much, and enjoy this great evening.
吴大帅，亲爱的校长、副校长、教务长，请允许我对获得此殊荣再次表示感谢。亲爱的曲教授，感谢你为我获得此荣誉学位的推荐。我也非常欢迎在座的诸位能够到北京去。我将用茅台酒和烤鸭来欢迎你们。
Well, thanks again, Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, and Mr. Provost, and thank you for your hospitalities, and thanks Professor Chu for promoting me, and also thank me, basically. So, and also I like to extend my invitation from my institution for you to visit China. I will invite you and host you with Mao Tai and Peking duck.
So, listen, we are so grateful. Thank you, Mr. Wu, for your wonderful comments. Our great professor is a wonderful person to travel through China with as well. Thank you for interpreting for us tonight. Before we conclude tonight's program, let's thank our wonderful chef. He's standing back here in the corner. All of our catering staff to help make this night so special. Sodexo, our public safety people that are here, all of our staff, thank you. Now we're going to have an early morning tomorrow. You can stay around if you want to, but I know you're wonderful company, but I got to exit stage left. I look forward to seeing all of our award recipients tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for our breakfast, but I also want to thank each and every one who's here tonight for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping us celebrate this great occasion. Just want to say one more thing, that this university is so proud, Mr. Wu, that we were the first in the world to develop a PhD in green chemistry. And so that connection to your work is such an amazing thing. Good evening, everybody. See you tomorrow morning. Thank you.